Hey YouTubers, Glenda here. Wanted to share with y'all something that the Lord showed me. I was praying for a very good friend of mine that's been in a really, really intense battle lately, and she's going through all kinds of stuff, and it's like there's no place to go for comfort, and the fire's just not letting up. And I was praying for her and praying really hard and saying, Lord, please, help her, give her some peace. And the Lord showed me something. I knew that she was probably in the refining fire because she's a great warrior. And he showed me, in my spirit, he showed me how he takes someone right to the edge where the fire is really, really hot. Not over into the pit where it just burns them up, but to the edge. And I saw in my spirit where it's like when you work with a trainer in the gym, how they'll push you and push you and push you. If y'all ever worked with a trainer, you know this. They push you until you think you are going to have to crawl out of the gym. I know that was my experience anyway. And you get what they call the burn. The burn in your muscles when you push so hard that, your muscles just feel like they're on fire. But if you don't push to the point that you have discomfort, then you also don't have any growth in your muscles. And the Lord showed me that spiritually, it's kind of the same thing. When He refines, He pushes us right up to the edge of that fire, and then He'll stand over it and just watch it. And He lets it burn until we finally toughen ourselves against the circumstances and build ourselves up with His Word. And then He'll pull it back for a little while, and then He'll push us back over there by the fire again. And He does that because if He doesn't, it's like when you refine gold. If you don't get the gold hot enough, all the impurities don't rise to the surface, and the gold will harden with the impurities still in it. Gold with impurity in it, with other metals or other substances in it, is harder gold, but it's not brighter gold, and it's not as valuable as gold that's been purely refined, and that is more pure gold. And it's the same way with us. If He allows our hearts to harden with the impurities still in them, we don't have as much value. We won't be as shiny for the kingdom of God as we will be if we will submit to His refining process and just say, oh Lord, this really hurts, but I know You can carry me through it. Because after you come through a battle like that, where the fire is so intense that you think for sure you're going to be consumed, when you walk out the other side, when the heat finally lets up a little bit, and you walk out the other side, you are so much stronger on the inside that it's a priceless treasure. I don't know how to describe it except when another big battle comes at you, you're not nearly as afraid because you're like, okay, well, I got through that, so this can't be, all that. And the small things don't bother you at all. I mean, they just don't have any effect because you face so many big things that the small things are, you see them for what they are, small things. But, I heard a story a long time ago about the refiner's fire. And the story goes that there were two tourists, and they stopped at this jewelry shop, and they wanted to look at the jewelry, and nobody was inside, so they walked out back. And there was this guy sitting there, and he was stirring this pot, and they looked in the pot, and it was gold. And, of course, this is, I'm sure, fictional, but they asked him, they said, will you come inside and show us some jewelry? And he said, well, I can't. I'm refining this gold. And they said, well, come on, we want to see it. And he said, well, I can't. I have to keep the temperature just right with this gold. And so they watched him for a while, and he was explaining what he did. And they said, well, come on, and, can't you just leave it for a few minutes? And he said, no. He said, if it gets too hot, it'll burn the gold up. And he said, I can't leave it because if the fire dies down and it gets too cold, it'll harden with the impurities in it. And they said, well, when will you know when it's done? And he said, when I can see my reflection in it. And it's the same way with us. We're done in the refining fire when He can see His reflection in us. So, submit to the refining process. It hurts. Cry out to Him as many times as you have to, and as loudly as you have to, but know that He has your best interest at heart and the interest of the entire kingdom, and that He will cool the fire down a little bit when He gets what He's trying to get out of you. I hope this helps somebody, and there's some scriptures in the Bible that do talk about the refining fire. Isaiah 48:10, behold, I have refined thee, but not with silver. I have chosen thee in the furnace of affliction. Many are called, but few are chosen. When God chooses you, it's in the furnace of affliction because he puts you in there to see, can you take the heat? Because he knows if he chooses you, if you become the chosen, the heat's going to be turned up because the enemy's going to come after you with everything he's got. So, if you're in the refining fire, it's because you are chosen. And in Zechariah chapter 13, the Lord was speaking to Zechariah, and he said, I will bring the third part through the fire. The third part's the remnant, of course. And will refine them as silver is refined, and I will try them as gold is tried, but they shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, the Lord is my God. In Proverbs 17:3, the finding pot is for silver, the furnace for gold, but the Lord tries the hearts. Now, anytime you're in the refining fire, he is trying your heart. And it's not so he can see if you'll keep his commandments, it's so you can see if you'll keep them. Because we always think that we will. But when the fire gets turned up really hot and you can't find comfort anywhere, that is when the temptation is the very greatest for you to sin or to go back to something you used to do. Watch for that, because when we hurt that bad, when the fire is turned up so high that we can't find comfort any place, that is when the devil will move in for just a death blow. Because he knows that we need comfort. He knows. And he knows that's when our propensity is highest to sin. And people that he can't get to sin any other time. He'll just wait until the fire's turned up really high and he'll go, I got them now. I know what they're tempted with. I'll just put it in front of them and they'll fall. So guard yourselves. Guard yourselves and know the enemy is watching all the time. God is trying to help you and the enemy is trying to take you down, but when the refining is going on, both sides are at work really strongly. You choose who you'll serve. Hope this helps somebody.